Welcome to The Silent Verdict.
With Clara Monroe and Elias Gray.
Can you actually steal a house with just a piece of paper? I mean, it sounds like something out of a movie, right? Impossible. But for one family in Walton County, Georgia, that absolute nightmare became their reality. The very center of this whole thing is a family's deep, deep connection to their home, a place that had been in their family for years, just filled with memories. This was never just a building to them. It was, in their own words, the only place they'd ever called home. So their world gets turned upside down back in 2019. Letters start showing up, talking about a $50,000 debt from a reverse mortgage on their house. Now here's the kicker. They never took out any reverse mortgage. Suddenly, they're staring at a massive bill for a house they thought they owned free and clear. Okay, so how on earth does something like this even happen? Well, the family started digging. The grandson, who had power of attorney over the property after his grandmother passed, he just knew something about these documents was completely off. And this is where the paper trail of the crime really starts to unravel. The whole case hinges on this one key document. It's called a warranty deed. Basically, it's the official piece of paper that says who owns a house. And for it to be legit, it has to be signed by the rightful owner. So the big question became, was the signature on their deed even real? The family was absolutely certain they hadn't signed a thing. They suspected fraud, that someone had faked a signature to snatch their home right out from under them, all without them knowing. So they decided they had to get an expert to prove it. And here's what's really shocking. When they looked into it, they found out the forged deed was filed way back in September of 2017. For 2 full years, the family had absolutely no idea. They were living their lives while, on paper, their house was no longer theirs. It just shows you how silent and sneaky this kind of theft can be. So they hire this handwriting expert. The expert takes one look, compares the signature on that deed to the man's actual, real signature, and the conclusion was just undeniable. It was a forgery. Period. Now they had cold, hard proof that a crime had been committed. All right, so now they have proof of a forgery. They do what any of us would do. They take it straight to the Walton County Sheriff's Office. They file a complaint, but the response they got, well, it was just baffling. A civil matter. Just let that sink in for a second. If someone steals your car, it's a crime. They steal your wallet, it's a crime. But here, the theft of an entire house, proven with a forged document, was basically shrugged off as a paperwork dispute. The family was told, sorry, you gotta go sue the people who stole your home. And this whole mess just exposes a terrifyingly simple loophole in the system. I mean, think about it. Somebody can just forge a deed, waltz into a county clerk's office, pay a little filing fee, and bam, that fake document gets entered into the official record. The clerk's office often just files what's put in front of them. Then, the thief uses that fake ownership to get a huge loan like that $50,000 mortgage and just vanishes with the cash. And the story just gets stranger when it gets to court. The closing attorney, the one who actually notarized the forged deed, the person whose job it was to witness the signature, she was right there at a hearing. But for some reason, she was allowed to leave without ever testifying. A key witness to the entire alleged crime, and she never had to speak. Why? So even as the family is fighting this tooth and nail in court, the situation is getting worse. They are screaming from the rooftops, warning everyone involved, the authorities, the mortgage company, that this whole thing is based on fraud. But it felt like nobody was listening. What happened next was just a total cascade of system failures. The warnings were ignored, the mortgage company, just wanting its money back, foreclosed on the home. It then gets sold at auction to a land company, which at least on paper, is now the new legal owner. Just like that, the family lost their home over a piece of forged paper.
So now this land company, the new owner, they know this whole situation is a mess. They've been told the original mortgage was fraudulent. So to make this all go away and avoid a long, ugly legal battle, they make the family an offer to just walk away. Over $300,000 in cash.
And this is where the family faced an impossible choice. On one hand, you have a huge amount of money, life-changing, for sure. But on the other hand, you have their home, an irreplaceable home. The family refused the money. For them, it was never, ever about the cash. And that brings us to the real heart of their ongoing fight. You know, what is a home really worth? Can you actually put a price tag on memories, on family history, on the one place in the world that you've always known.
The family's reason for fighting said it all, and it's so powerful. We want to die in this house. We want to keep it in the family. See, their fight isn't just for a building. It's for their future, for their legacy. They don't want to pay out, they just want their life back. Now, because of cases like this one, Georgia did pass a new law. It requires ID verification for deed changes, a simple safeguard that could have stopped this whole thing before it started. But here's the thing, that change isn't retroactive. It does nothing to help this family. Their fight to undo the sale is still going on in court.
This family's story is just such a stark warning about a huge vulnerability in a system that we all put our trust in. And it leaves you with a really unsettling question. You assume your home is safe because, your name is on the deed. But are you sure? It's the only name?